It's what did not arrive with silver that has me quite surprised, and in a good way. I'll explain what silver did today and why we should be hopeful for the near future as we explore. I was waiting with anticipation, expecting the price to drop and maybe even plummet for another day, especially with what we heard in the later part of the day after Chairman Jerome Powell gave his press conference. But it did not happen with silver. That's right. It likely will end the trading day up. And I'm going to talk about that here in a moment. But no, there is going to be more dips with silver to come. That we can rest assured. And I think the consolidation is not over yet for silver. Now, could I be wrong about that? Well, so far, the last trading day, I have been, especially with today, with what happened earlier. I'm going to get to that in a moment. But whenever there are dips in the price, well, that's when you want to look for purchasing. You take advantage of those dips to improve your dollar cost average. But overall, dollar cost averaging works. It is a foolproof method for stacking as long as you hold on to the metal. My friends at Summit Metals, they know this all too well. They're a great company to work with and experience their great customer service for yourself by clicking on the link in the description below. So let's get into what's going on with silver today. Moments before the markets close, we're getting some positive numbers for silver and rhodium. That's right. They're the only two metals that are up right now. The platinum group metals have been kind of, tipping back and forth between up and down. Gold was up earlier in the day. In fact, it did get above $4,000 an ounce earlier in anticipation of the rate cut. And silver was up higher too. Silver was up to $48.50 was the high today before scaling back after the news that we got later in the day. I'm going to get into that in a moment. But here's where the numbers sit now, moments before the markets close. Gold down $14.80 to $3,938.60. Silver up 1.2%, up 57 cents right now to $47.66. Likely it will end the day up. That's good news. Of course, with gold, it's bad news because I made a purchase at the high of the day. But oh well, you can't always win them all, especially in the markets that we're seeing right now where there's a lot of volatility and consolidation appears to be taking place in the gold market. But it's not as bad there. Regardless, the gold to silver ratio has narrowed to 82.85. We've not seen that in a while, so that's actually good news. Sort of the bottom of the gold to silver ratio was when both metals were skyrocketing to $54.50 for silver and $4,200 some odd dollars, $4,300 for gold, and we got it to fall below 80 for a brief amount of time. But right now, gold is the metal that we're seeing there. And what we're seeing here with the silver is something quite remarkable with it holding on to some of these gains. I'm going to be referencing a couple of pieces here from Kitco. Neil Christensen about what's going on with gold consolidating below $4,000 an ounce as the Federal Reserve has cut rates a quarter point. The gold market is bouncing around $4,000 an ounce as the Federal Reserve lowers interest rates in line with expectation but provides little forward guidance. As expected, the Federal Reserve cut interest rates to a range between 3.75 and 4%. The central bank maintained its stance that the U.S. economy continues to expand at a moderate pace and that inflation remains elevated. However, the central bank also continues to highlight a renewed focus on the labor market. Uncertainty around the economic outlook remains elevated. The committee is attentive to the risk on both sides of its dual mandate and judges that downside risk to employment rose in recent months, the central bank said in its monetary policy statement, which was relatively unchanged from previous months. Although gold saw some modest volatility in the initial reaction to the Federal Reserve's monetary policy decision, it treaded water just below $4,000 an ounce. And the monetary policy statement also noted that the central bank has stopped reducing its balance sheet. In other words, quantitative tightening is ending. But Powell has signaled this move in a speech a few weeks before the meeting, so that really wasn't that much of a surprise. In fact, we're seeing some easing happen with the M2 money supply increasing out. But nonetheless, silver has weathered this storm today in a surprising move to where it has pulled back some from its all-time high today, but it is still up positive for sure. This is pretty amazing. Now, one of the little news flashes that Kid Code likes to send out says here that gold has sold off into negative territory after Jerome Powell says he won't commit to a Fed rate cut in December. That changes the dynamic for sure. And that has rallied the dollar index. What is the dollar index doing right now? Well, it is up. That's right, it is 99.2. Silver is up, and so is the dollar index. That's pretty amazing, I would say. But when we take a look at the tail of the tape, so to speak, in terms of what the Federal Reserve is going to do, let's see what the Fed Watch tool is going to tell us, what's happening there with the Federal Reserve and what the next meeting will hold. All right, it is a mixed bag here. The current target rate, now 31.6% of those participants that take place in these polls here believe that the Federal Reserve will leave rates unchanged from where they're at right now, just after the quarter-point cut, with a 68.4% chance now believe that it's going to be lowered another quarter-point cut. So we'll see. It's a mixed bag there, a growing mix, and we'll see how that details in the coming days. But if this holds true, that means it's going to probably prevent gold and silver from recapturing those highs that we saw earlier, because everybody was kind of banking on at least the 3 rate cuts that had occurred, or that were in the bag, essentially banked in or baked into the markets. And of course, gold is taking the brunt of the hit now from this, and silver still could. That's right, silver. I would be prepared for more downward movement for silver, by the way, at least to some extent. It's exciting, surprising what happened today, but consolidation I don't think is completely done yet. But it may not fall to 40. Every day that we'd see it above 45 is another day that is less likely to fall below that. We did see it, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, very close to the low $45 range, and I still stick with my prediction that we may see it fall into the very low 40s, maybe even high 30s before it starts to make a move back up again. But right now, silver's holding strong. But you know how silver is so volatile. This is why I do not rule out a continued fall in price. But I do feel positive about silver for its support at higher numbers than we've seen before. And I think that will be a long-term thing, and then we'll start to see the price go up again. I'm holding on no matter what, for sure, and I'm also holding on to gold. Gold is less volatile, and so it's been a fascinating thing to see gold move in the way it has, and still hovering very close to $4,000 an ounce. In fact, right now, right as I record this video, the gold losses are repairing yet again, moving back up. It's only down 80 cents right now from the beginning of the trading day. So it's been a pretty wild ride for gold and silver today, with the range between the low and the high pretty vast, pretty big. But still, it's one of those things. Gold, we like to have as a stable store of value. There's different ways to get gold. And my friends over at Germanium Mint sent me their latest offering here from 2025, the Golden Eagle. Now, most of you recognize this design that is quite prevalent on the silver coin they have. This is a coin from Malta. They partnered with Malta on this release. For the first time, they've released it in gold here in a 10th ounce version. Very, very nice, beautiful coin. It comes in this little card here. This coin card is what they call it, sort of an assay. And it is just a beautiful, well-presented, with all the craftsmanship that they can offer to us here, and a great design. The only one drawback to this design is the clipped wing on the one side, but it's just a really cool design. It's just showing it's grabbing the snake there, the golden eagle. And then on the reverse here is the Maltese here, coat of arms here. Beautiful, very well done, an excellent craftsmanship and nice proof-like detail on this. And as you can see, it has a reeded edge, and it comes in a capsule. And a very, very nice addition here to the stack, a 10th of an ounce of gold by the Germanium Mint. So, yes, indeed. Very, very cool. I want to thank them for sending that along to me. So gold, we're going to see how this plays out with gold, but silver is the winner of the day. No question about it. In fact, looking at the complex again here, it is up here 67 cents, and likely it's going to close out up today. So but be prepared for anything that can happen with silver. In fact, I stand by my previous video, but I could be wrong about it as far as it consolidating down to the low 40s. So we'll see. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. Would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.